Welcome, bowling fans, to 4D Entertainment's Sharkbite Championship Finals. Brought to you by BowlFreak. Sign up for free at BowlFreak.com and compete against other players from around the world in various tournaments to suit your skill level. BowlFreak, it's your game. I'm Michael Powell, and I'll be with you laneside for today's fun and exciting competition.
Finals now. These four guys all cash. Top scores get first, second, third, fourth.
And so our lineup in order of qualification are Joe Innis, James Blackstone, Christopher Seabolt, and Amy Duncan. So Joe Innis gets us started here. And he washes out with his first shot. This pattern is a very difficult pattern to navigate for really any bowler. It requires playing the inside, and this is a fresh pattern. These lanes haven't been touched during today's earlier pre-qualifier. As Blackstone sends off his first shot, puts it into the pocket, and sends it into the pit. Beautiful shot by James Blackstone, who incidentally is our only PBA player in today's competition. As Joe Innis tries to pick this one up, it only gets two. Christopher Seabolt, number 3 qualifier for today's competition, gets set to take his first shot. Puts this one a little light in the pocket, only gets 8. And sends an errant pin between the other 2 pins, as you can see on the instant replay. We're trying a new format. If you're one of our fans who's been tuning in for the last few months for our broadcast, we're doing a 5-camera format today, as Amy Duncan, our number 4 competitor, takes her first shot and only gets 3 pins. With the 5-camera format, we join the networks and how we're trying to present bowling. I believe it's a first for YouTube, as Christopher Seabolt gets ready to take his second shot and converts the frame. We're using a scoring presentation system at the top of the screen that's a little different than what you typically see on television. We think it's a little easier to follow, and it's updated after every shot. As Amy Duncan sends off her second shot, and doesn't quite get all of them, leaves an open frame. Joe Innis starts off our second frame. Sends this one out a little too far. Misses the head pin again and only gets 7. It's going to be difficult to recover if you throw the ball out too far on the shark. There's a lot of oil volume on the right and left-hand sides, and that keeps your typical house shot bowler from being able to do well on this pattern. It's not too often you see a handicap tournament like you're seeing here. That's why the scoring is a little more complicated, as Joe Innis sends off his pickup shot and converts the second frame. So we're showing the handicap as the green number with white outline, and you can see James Blackstone does not have a handicap because he's got a 223 pin average. As he puts this one through the head pin and gets a split, only 6 pins. Amy Duncan, our only left-handed competitor today, gets set up on the approach. Sends this one way left of the head pin and manages to knock down 5. Duncan, of course, is receiving the highest handicap since her average is only 122. As Blackstone makes a great attempt to pick this one up, but only gets 3. That really had a chance. That was a good shot. And that's exactly the kind of performance we expect from somebody like James Blackstone. As Duncan sends this one off and only picks up 1 pin. Seabolt puts this one down into the pocket, but gets a flat 7. The instant replay here will show you how late his ball is turning, because of the oil that's down lane. As Joe Innis lines up on the wrong side. Not looking at the arrows. This one's not going to count. This is the very difficult shark oil pattern that the players have been facing all day. It's 43 feet long, has moderate oil volume, and the bowlers must play the inside while they're just throwing their balls right into the gutter. And so Seabolt sends off his second try of the second frame, and he picks the second frame up. As you can see on instant replay, nice shot. Blackstone coming off an open frame. Starts out his third. Putting this one right into the pocket, and he gets another strike. We'll look at the replay from a different angle. And that's a good shot. Nice pin action on that one. Innis sends this one deep. This is the head pin, but gets lucky. It's 9. Joe Innis has a lot of power and a lot of rotation. Those two things sometimes can be a detriment on this type of pattern. Throws this one into the gutter and leaves an open frame. So Joe Innis isn't having the game he was hoping for, and certainly has no problem expressing that. As we can see him miss the shot right here, which is not something you see Joe do that often. Seabolt, on the other hand, is having a good game so far. Puts this one down with a straight line into the pocket and gets a strike. So it looks like Christopher Seabolt might have figured out this pattern, at least at this point. It's a lot more about accuracy than rotation and trying to get your ball to break right. Now, bowlers like Amy Duncan are why we have handicap tournaments, to attract bowlers of all skill levels, and she only gets 3 pins on her first shot. But still has a score of 63 because of the handicap she receives. You are watching 4D Entertainment's Sharkbite Championship Finals. Brought to you by BowlFreak. Sign up for free at BowlFreak.com and compete against other players from around the world in various tournaments to suit your skill level. BowlFreak, it's your game. And the Printer Showcase, where the business professionals shop. Don't go away, we'll be right back. Welcome back to 4D Entertainment's Sharkbite Championship Finals. Joe Innis sends off his first ball of the fourth frame. Looks like he's found the pocket and shreds the rack. Great shot by Innis. And that is a nice looking ball. Now, if Joe has figured out this pattern, this could be trouble, because he can repeat that shot. As Duncan sends off her second shot and picks the frame up. So Amy Duncan closes her first frame. As James Blackstone gets ready to start his fourth. Blackstone, who has a very controlled approach and release, puts this one into the pocket and doubles up. James Blackstone is the owner of Precise Bowling Systems, which is a training organization here in the Atlanta area. As Amy Duncan sends off her first shot of the fourth frame, puts it a little nose heavy, but gets 9 pins. And James can be seen working with local kids in the area at the various Brunswick bowling alleys that we have. Seabolt, between game so far since his first shot of the fourth frame. It only gets 8 pins this time. Duncan misses on her second shot and leaves an open frame in the fourth. The bright green number with the plus sign next to it that you see on the scoreboard here is how many pins that bowler is up over the lowest bowler. To help you keep score. As Seabolt closes this frame, keeps that clean game going. Blackstone started and didn't see what he liked, so he's going back on the approach. If it weren't for that second frame, James Blackstone would be dominating this tournament, regardless of the fact he's not getting a handicap. But he does manage to get a split on this one and only gets 7 pins. It looks like he ran into some goo on the approach there. The approaches were not the cleanest today, and they had to be gone over a couple of times before we began the competition. As Innis sends off this strike, and he doubles up in the 5th frame. Now, it looked like a gummy approach. Might have messed up James' shot a little bit. As he tries to pick this up, and only gets 2 pins. And it looks like Duncan continues to have a hard time hitting her mark. And she only gets 3 pins on this shot. As you can see, she does not put any rotation on the ball, so she relies entirely on accuracy to knock the pins down. As Seabolt gets left with something he didn't want. And that is a nasty leave. It's not too often you see pins get that jostled around and nothing falls down back there, but only got 6 pins. As Duncan puts this down and closes the frame. So using that accuracy that I was just talking about earlier, Amy Duncan's able to put the ball right where she wants it. And it looks like Seabolt's decided to take his lumps and go for pin count. Picks up the 4-7. And brings an end to his clean game. As Blackstone, working off of another open frame, gets ready to start his 6th. Puts this one into the pocket, but not enough angle on it. And gets a flat 10. And as you'll be able to see here in the instant replay, that I think his ball changed direction a little too late. Caused the other pins to go at an angle that leaves the 10 pin in the corner. As Innis working on 2 strikes. Goes Brooklyn, gets lucky, and gets a turkey. So after bowling on the wrong side earlier, Joe Innis manages to string 3 together. Leads his competition right now. Blackstone sends this one perfectly right at the 10 and closes the 6th frame. So with no handicap to work with, Blackstone's certainly holding his own. As Duncan starts off her 6th frame by throwing this one right into the pocket, but it leaves a 5. And that's what happens if you don't have rotation on your ball. You're simply not going to get the pin carry, which is how the pins strike each other after the ball has hit the first pins. And they're going straight back like that. As Seabolt sends this one straight into the head pin, but gets 9. So it looks like he just missed his mark there a little bit. As Duncan gets set up to attempt to pick up this frame. And does. Seabolt likewise needs to pick up his frame and takes care of it easily. Blackstone starts off the 7th frame by also going through the nose, but gets lucky and gets another strike.
All right, Joe Innis, good shot. Good shot, Joe.
As you can see by the smile on his face, he'll take it. They're getting a handicap. They get Brooklyn strikes. As Joe Innis starts off his 7th frame. Working on a turkey, gets great pin action, and the messenger delivers 4 in a row. And that's what you call a rotation on the ball. It's what causes the pins to fly off to the side and clean up any mess like that. Seabolt puts this one down, straight into the pocket. Well, the pins go a little flat, and he leaves the 10. As you can see here pretty clearly in the instant replay, the ball just kind of punches right through and the pins fall flat. As Duncan gets set up to start her 7th frame. Puts this one Brooklyn side for her. Gets 9 pins and gets out of trouble. So it looks like she's got another 5 pin to pick up. Which with her particular bowling style should not be that difficult. Seabolt gets set up to close this frame. And misses on the inside, leaving an open frame in the 7th. As Duncan attempts to do the same, and she misses her shot. You are watching 4D Entertainment's Sharkbite Championship Finals. Brought to you by BowlFreak. Sign up for free at BowlFreak.com and compete against other players from around the world in various tournaments to suit your skill level. BowlFreak, it's your game. And the Printer Showcase, where the business professionals shop. Don't go away, we'll be right back. Welcome back to 4D Entertainment's Sharkbite Championship Finals. James Blackstone starts us off here in the 8th frame. As he checks the approach for any stickiness. And begins his very controlled approach to the foul line. Puts this one down right into the pocket. Beautiful shot and doubles up. That is just picture perfect, folks. Speaking of perfect, Joe Innis is working on 4 strikes. As he sends this one a little too deep in the pocket and gets a split. As you can see on the replay, he just pushed it down a little too far. Did not get the pin action he wanted. Seabolt puts this one straight into the pocket and sends 10 to the pit. That's one way to do it. Just hammer him down. And it's only managed to pick up 1 here. Needs an open frame in the 8th.
different there. He's running for a mile.
But he's still far ahead of his closest competitor. Those 4 strikes in a row helped. As Duncan sends this one down into the pocket, gets very little pin action and gets 8 pins. And I say pocket, it's pocket for the right-handers, and it would be Brooklyn for a left-hander. But as I say on league night, every side's pocket for me. And Duncan sends off her second shot. And sends it right past the pins, leaving another open frame in the 8th. That's why we have a handicap. As Innis speeds things along, hits Brooklyn on this side, does not get lucky, and only gets 9 pins. Blackstone is managing to push himself up from the bottom of the pile. Since he has no handicap, washes out and only gets 6. But the 2 strikes before that frame helped increase his pin count, so he is in second place right now as Joe Innis puts this one right at the pin and picks it up.
10 minutes till we need all the lights turned off. Thank you.
Blackstone gets all 4 in this one. Very nice pickup. That was a great angle on that shot. It looks like Amy Duncan crosses over again. Only gets 6 pins this time. Christopher Seabolt working on a strike from the last frame. Puts this one right down into the pocket, gets an unlucky leave, and gets a nasty split. This one did not look like that bad of a ball. It was a bad leave. That is a tough, tough split to pick up. Certainly not what you want to see this late in the game. As Amy Duncan sends this one down and closes the frame. She looked pleased with herself and should be. Now Seabolt attempts to try to pick this one up. He gets 1 pin. So bad foundation frame for Christopher Seabolt, unfortunately for him. As Joe Innis gets us started here in the 10th and final frame. And this once again goes Brooklyn, and again leaves 9 pins. And lets us know it. As Innis attempts to pick this one up, and does. Blackstone sends this one in perfectly. And that gives him and Innis another ball to throw here in the 10th frame. Innis sends down his last ball. Puts it through the nose. It's Brooklyn again. Gets 9 pins again, but that's good enough for him, and that's good enough to win this tournament. So congratulations to Joe Innis on that game. As Blackstone earns the 2nd place title. So while those two positions were pretty easily decided, we've still got a fight here happening in the 3rd and 4th spots. And Seabolt sends off his first shot of the 10th frame. Puts it right in the pocket, but only gets 9 pins. If Duncan manages to get her first strike here, she could close the game out. This shot does look pretty good. It does hit the pocket, but only gets 8 pins. So the door is wide open for Christopher Seabolt to move up to the 3rd spot. But he needs to get this frame closed. He needs to get all of the rest of it. So part 1 is done. Duncan leaves an open frame. Petition to a close.
Let's do some cash out.
So in first place we had Joe Innis with an adjusted score of 205. James Blackstone with a scratch score of 188. Amy Duncan with a handicap score of 169. And Christopher Seabolt with an adjusted score of 167. I'm Michael Powell, and it's been my pleasure to be here laneside, and look forward to seeing you next time.
Our 4th place winner for 2015 Sharkbite is Mr. Christopher Seabolt. Our 3rd place bowler is Joe. Our 2nd place bowler, Mr. James Blackstone. And our 1st place bowler, Mr. Carey, Mr. Joe Innis. You can bring your trophy with you. Smile, left you, show everybody what you look like.